Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number 999, and Doubleshot number 893. I got two Marvel trades. Both of them are written by Matthew Rosenberg. Yep, a guy I've met a couple times, and the guy is one fantastic writer. He always writes the most interesting stuff, and I know he just wrapped up his run for Kenny X-Men. Well, let's talk about a book that he's still writing to this very day. He's running it now for 2 years, and he's done a really good job with the book. This is The Punisher War Machine, Volume 1. This contains Punisher, number 218 and 223. Before I talk about the actual story itself, I want to talk about this damn numbering. It's too low. Yeah, for one thing, when Marvel had their legacy numbering a couple of years ago, they had every single numbering made sense. Mostly anyways. The one person was upset over the Amazing Spider-Man numbering. But a lot of them made perfect sense, basically, for the numbering. Not in the case for the Punisher. See, they included as part of the numbering for this particular series, they included the first volume, which I was very happy with, though I did see an unofficial one where they decided not to include the first volume for the numbering, which I'm very happy they did. The entire 104 issue second volume, the 18 issue third volume. The fourth volume was actually very surprised and happy the fact they included this one. Yeah, 12 issue maxi series. Volume 5 for some reason is not included as part of the numbering. I have no idea why. It's particularly a little bizarre. If they did, that means that this thing is off by about 35 issues. That would mean it would not be at 218, but actually like, let's see, 37, that's more like, I think it's like 255. Yeah, it should be at 255 by now. But no, they decided not to include it part of numbering. I have no idea why in the world they decided not to include it. Because here's the thing, it's written by the same guy who wrote the previous volume, Volume 4, Garth Ennis. Yeah, actually it was Warren Ellis who wrote it. Garth Ennis wrote the Max book, which came after that one. Yeah, no idea why in the world they decided to include it by numbering, which I was very upset why they decided to include it. 6 makes sense because it does take place in the same universe, though at the time they probably think it did, but nobody did. 7 I'm particularly very happy with. This is of course the recommended run. Now, this was another book that unofficially that had a where the unofficial thing decided to include the last 5 issues of the run. Yeah, for some reason they decided not to include it. And I saw the official account. Yep, they did include it. They included the Greg Rucka run, the entire 16 issue book of that one. They also included the 14 issues that preceded this issue, the start of the storyline, by Becky Cohen. Matthew Rosenberg takes over the storyline. This deals with the aftermath of Secret Empire. Yep. At least this book did. Captain America did it. Nope. It took until the current writer dealt with the consequences of Secret Empire in that book because Wade wanted nothing to do with it. He just basically proceeded like nothing happened. Now the story for the storyline is this. Frank Castle is tasked by Nick Fury to go to a foreign country to topple a general and basically get rid of a bunch of agents when S.H.I.E.L.D. was decommissioned, which I do agree with the sentiment that getting rid of S.H.I.E.L.D. was an absolute terrible idea. I mean, why get rid of S.H.I.E.L.D. for in the first place? I mean, yes, it was briefly compromised by Hydra. You could at least rebuild it and try to make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah, as far as I can tell, this is the first and only time I can think of recently where Hydra infiltrated frickin' S.H.I.E.L.D. Now you probably ask, how in the world is the Punisher going to get there very quickly? Why using a War Machine armor? Yes, the Punisher steals this thing, paints the Punisher skull on it, and flies to this country known as... They don't really list it here. Yep. I think it's like Czech something. I'm not sure what it was. It is... Saranian. Yeah. Now, the style of storytelling for this... Now, one thing I do appreciate, though, also, let me make a comment about the logo. it's the same logo they used for the Becky Cohen run. Yeah, they kept the same logo. Now, the style of this particular storytelling is very similar to that of Punisher Volume 2. You know, Punisher not taking on a major villain, just going to a country, foreign country, just topple some dictator. Basically has some elements of the Max book in here, in some ways. It has a bit of over-top gore, a little bit, not much. It has a little bit of gore in here, especially since one character, though they do at least censor it a little bit. Yeah, basically Punisher blows off a guy's head, which is very typical Punisher. Now, here's the thing. Somehow he gets his hands on this particular thing. He just finds it in some warehouse and just flies over there. And he also takes out the former SHIELD agents pretty easily. It takes a little while. Now, I should point out this book contains issues 218 and 233. Yeah, this is roughly a 6-issue storyline. Though it doesn't collect the whole thing of his time as war machine. And he takes on the dictator after a while, pretty much massacring half of the army. And then the storyline ends with him going back to New York City and pretty much bringing his nuclear arsenal to New York City to start a really, really serious war on crime. This is a good start for Matthew Rosberg's run, and I'm looking forward to getting more trades to collect this particular run. I get this book roughly 8-9 out of 10. Do not recommend this book for little kids. Oh no. And the artwork in here, the artwork in here is done by one artist, a guy by the name of Guido Bolivia. The cover art is done by Clayton Crane. Yeah, surprisingly he does this really good artwork. I've met the guy. The guy is one damn good artist. Now, he did review this, but he was actually quite surprised when this storyline was announced that Frank Castle was become War Machine. And yes, he does have a confrontation with Iron Man in the following issues. And we also have Carol Danvers shows up in here, which makes sense because she dated War Machine. Though since War Machines came back, they haven't really mentioned their relationship at all. It's like either it's over or that the current writers want to deal with the storyline itself. Because Kelly Sue Honig basically started it. It was referenced by the next writers. Not much out of that. Yep. Now let's start with book basic. Now, next book basically came out a year prior to the Punisher book. This is Actually, I think I'm just before that. This is Rocket Racoon, Grounded. This contains the entire third volume of Rocket Racoon, which is only 5 issues. And yes, Rosberg writes all 5 issues. This is written by him, and the artwork is done by Jorge Colijo. I'm thinking he pronounces the name of this guy. The cover is done by David Nakamiya. I think I'd say pronounce his name. Yes, Rocket Raccoon is on Earth, and this is of course after what happened in the Civil War 2 tie-in for Guardians of the Galaxy. This is him put what Rocket was up to. The whole point of this 5-issue storyline is that it explains what the heck he was up to prior to him reuniting with the Guardians to go back into space. And of course, he just walking around, causing a lot of mayhem. Not killing anybody per se. He beats a couple of cops. He also runs the Human Torch of all people. Yes, the Human Torch. During the period of time when he was sleeping with Medusa. Yep. Though this relationship fell forth because Scholl developed this verse really well until he had abruptly ended thanks to the events of X-Men versus Inhumans. Actually, this came out this came out just prior to this. Yeah, this came out later on that very year. This came before that. Yep. So, he also runs into a couple of people. Like, after he runs the Human Torch, he runs the Lockjaw, he runs the Miles Morales Spider-Man. The most interesting one, and he has never met this guy before. Never. Never in the history of our comics had these two ever met. You want to know who he meets? Kraven the Hunter. Yes, Kraven the Hunter shows up in Rocket Raccoon. Well, he's an animal. He's the only animal. And it's interesting though, he points out like the obvious thing when it comes to Craven Hunter. Like you're taking orders from a guy who wears an animal face and yoga pants. It's like Rosenberg loved poking fun at Craven the Hunter, how silly his look is. That look was designed by Steve Ditko. I don't mind poking fun at it. It's quite hilarious because Rosenberg is great with is pretty good with humor. Pac is a little more basically in humor. Now, in case you're wondering, there's not much humor in this book here, but a lot of character stuff basically with the Punisher. Yep. But in the case of this, basically, yeah, Rock caused some trouble, and of course wants to go work. And of course, wants to, yeah, you want to go for work? Throw in a refugee camp. Yeah, that's actually a loose tie into what's going at that time going on in the pages of Captain Marvel, where there's a refugee camp and people want to leave Earth. Yep. And of course meets up some aliens, and then he eventually gets to a portal, gets these aliens off the world via a portal to this galaxy. It's not the Keystone Galaxy. No, it's what is the name of this particular galaxy? They go to the Corbat planet. Yep. That's what they go to, and then of course Craven has another fight. He fights Racoon several times, and then Rocket does something quite stupid in here. He breaks the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, and he says, "I'm not paying for that," which that's actually a funny line, but basically he disrespected a national landmark by basically he didn't technically destroy. Like if you look in other books about such illusion, it's perfectly fine. It's going to be fixed, no problem. I'm sure that probably that the Human Torch probably fix it, because after all, he has a lot of connection to the damn thing. And of course, well, the series just abruptly ends the 5 issues. I kind of thought initially this was going to be a long-running series. I didn't get a chance to talk to the series that much. I didn't even mention the series to Matthew Rosenberg, but this series was just end at the 5 issues. Now, in the case of Kingpin, that's because as far as they wanted to go with it. This book, I'm not really sure why the book ended after 5 issues. If I get a chance to meet Matthew Rosenberg again, I'm going to ask my question. Why did this book end after only 5 issues? I think this book is really, really good, and I get this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really good. If you're a fan of Racoon, I highly recommend checking this out because this is really good. Started the same period of time as Star-Lord by Chip Zdarsky. Was it Zdarsky? Yeah, it was Zdarsky who wrote it. Yeah, Chip Zdarsky. The guy himself was a very hilarious writer. Yeah, I do enjoy this guy's work. The guy's current work on the pages of Daredevil, it's really good. But in the case of Rosenberg, he occasionally has his humor, but he's not using humor in the pages of Punisher because Punisher is a serious character, so not really necessary for him to use humor in that book. Yeah. But Racoon and Punisher are really good. Like, if you're a Punisher fan, I highly recommend checking out Matthew Rosenberg's one. It is really, really good. But I start with this book here. But if you want something that's quick and basically it's an early start to Matthew Rosenberg's run, you see, when I first heard of Matthew Rosenberg a couple years ago, this is actually one of the first 2 series he got. The other course being Kingpin. Yep. And then, of course, after these 2 series got canceled, he got Secret Warriors, which was by far his second longest book he's ever done. Yeah, that's not the Punisher. Though, if you look at, let's say, how many issues he wrote for Kenny X, he wrote 22 issues. Yeah, I don't own Secret Warriors Volume 2. I'm actually going to get it, but I'm slowly trying to collect Matthew Rosenberg stuff that he did for Marvel. I mean, not only do I own this and Kingpin and, of course, the Punisher book, I also own, the Resurrection, the Resurrection of the Phoenix miniseries. I own that. Let's see. I think that's it. No, wait, there is one book I do own, and it's Astonishing X-Men book. So I own about a small percentage of the stuff he's written. The only books I can think of that he's written I don't own is his Uncanny X-Men stuff. Well, pretty much the rest of his Punisher stuff, and the second volume of Secret Warriors. Well, I gotta say, in just 2 years, the guy wrote a lot of good stuff. None of his books have been bad. Like, yeah, I've never come across a bad book written by Matthew Rosberg while people. Though I do disagree with some stuff he did in Kenny X-Men. I even told him that himself. Like, I do disagree. I don't hate the stuff he's done with Kenny X-Men. Like having the character Blindfold commit suicide. I'll probably get a chance to talk about that when I get a chance to get my hands on his run for Kenny X-Men. But yeah, that's it for this particular review. Tomorrow, be more Case Closed videos, a review of newest episode of Black Clover and Fairy Tale, and my 1,000th episode for this Comic Corner series. Yes, that will be tomorrow. And we have kind of fun with this one because I'm reviewing one of my other favorite writers, one of my many favorite writers, Greg Pak. 2 trades to collect of his work. You'll find out what they are tomorrow. Okay, but these next few. Bye.